Dr. Gabor Mate, a renowned speaker, author, and physician, gave a speech on Karl Marx's four alienations: alienation from nature, people, our work, and ultimately ourselves. We live in a world that makes us feel lost. We are separated from the beauty of nature. We have technology that makes it easier for us to feel isolated, and we are pressured to pursue a lifestyle we may not want. We will spend our entire lives searching for the feeling of satisfaction, happiness, completeness. What does it mean to feel complete? How should we go about achieving this state or feeling? Everyone has a different perspective on completeness. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the definition of complete is 1. Having all the necessary parts, elements, or steps. 2. Fully carried out. Or 3. Brought to an end. But exact definitions and facts don't really answer profound questions, which is why I thought there must be better ways to approach this and demonstrate other means of expanding knowledge besides the usual online search. There are 4 methods I chose to investigate this question with. 1. Reflecting on my own life experience. 2. Learning from my community. 3. Connecting the question to a related field. And 4. Looking to my faith. I began this project by reflecting on my own personal experiences in order to understand the honest way I felt before starting my learning journey. Personal experiences are a great way to find anecdotes to include in argumentative work. It's a way of incorporating pathos, or the appeal to emotion. I started thinking about how, when I was younger, I was that person that was waiting to feel complete. I had all these goals regarding the person I wanted to be or the future I wanted to have. I wanted to be confident, social, outspoken. But the reality was that I was quite disconnected from my peers. I even got concerned phone calls home for not speaking in class or interacting with other students, which is funny because, well, have you seen me these days? But anyways, like many other kids my age, I felt like I was on the other side and not really part of my community. To me, being complete meant that I would feel like I was a part of something. But the problem lies in the very first statement I made. I was waiting to feel complete. I was very passive and took no actions that would lead to self-improvement. Instead of focusing on what I should be doing to reach a goal, I was dreaming about it. Maybe the problem wasn't searching for fulfillment itself, but rather the way I approached it. So I changed my mindset. I snapped out of being an idle observer and pushed myself to create a larger presence. I did extracurriculars that forced me to do public speaking. I looked for tips on how to improve, and I tried to get myself interested and excited about it, all of which were vital to my growth as a person. But here's another issue. There would be days where I felt that I accomplished what I wanted and I felt satisfied with myself. But then there would be instances that shattered this feeling and left me feeling like I was back at square one. I think this problem also goes back to the very first statement I made. I was waiting to feel complete. I saw myself not as an evolving project, but rather one to be finished. And that makes it easy to feel like you failed over and over again, especially because new, tougher obstacles will challenge your sense of security. So overall, I don't believe that waiting or even pursuing completeness is a positive thing, but I'm open to new ideas, which is why I sent out a survey asking people for their anonymous opinions. Learning from your community is one of the greatest things you can do. We do it every day, and it's such a valuable source of information. This type of learning, collaborative learning, focuses on working together to come to a solution. It was fascinating to see the different ways people thought. From the survey, I saw that a majority of people agreed that being complete meant being satisfied with where you are in life. For some people, external sources gave them a sense of completeness. For others, it had to do with the way they viewed themselves. Some argued that completeness didn't exist or that it wasn't worth pursuing. A majority shared their own ways of finding completeness, but there were a few ideas I hadn't really thought about. Ones that focused on searching for completeness every day, focusing on your health and seeking balance, arguing that completeness was not a lifetime goal to reach in the end, but perhaps an everyday one. It made me think, what if searching for completeness has nothing to do with accomplishing a goal in the distant future? What if it has to do with the way you are right now, in the present? It may be obvious for some people, but I didn't really think about basic but important things like my mental and physical health and how it would help these other aspects of my life fall in place, allowing me to feel complete. Sometimes when you are too focused on your goal, you overlook crucial steps to get there. To find completeness, I don't think all of your goals have to pertain to improving aspects of your life, like the state of your social life, career, etc. These are important lifetime goals that could make you feel satisfied, but it's also fleeting because once you accomplish it, you'll find something new. If we had more everyday goals that encouraged us to take care of our emotional well-being, make peace with ourselves, and accept the unpredictable nature of our lives, maybe we will be closer to feeling complete than we think. In order to understand more behind this, I looked into the concept of psychological wholeness. It was my way of integrating knowledge from another field to further understand the topic. Promises Treatment Center notes that the traits of an emotionally healthy person includes 1. A strong sense of self. 2. The ability to deal with one's feelings or responding healthily to a negative event. This doesn't mean not experiencing any negative emotions at all. 3. Not being defensive and not having a victim mentality. This means that a person has self-accountability. 4. Having a strong sense of values that's inner-directed instead of outer-directed. 5. The ability to express and create. 6. The ability to trust others. 7. Being able to deal with abstract reasoning and not seeing the world in black and white. 8. The ability to go after what we want in life. And 9. Being open to love and not shutting ourselves down due to fear of vulnerability. Once again, I saw that it had little to do with what you accomplish, but rather your emotional health. While it was great to know these traits, I wanted to understand how people reach this state. In Buddhism, you hear a lot about the concept of nirvana, or the Four Noble Truths. Very difficult things to reach or implement. But Buddhism isn't about enforcing an ideal. It's about providing guidance for a more peaceful lifestyle. It's also quite different everywhere and can be different for everyone. And as someone who isn't devout, I want to explore more simple means of living a Buddhist lifestyle. Thích, a famous Vietnamese monk and peace activist, wrote a book titled Being Peace, which is a guide for everyday people to find happiness and feel more fulfilled. After a stressful day, reading this book actually calmed me down. It's quite short and uses very simple and beautiful language. As I read the book, I highlighted and organized points I wanted to share with you guys. 1. The main issue. In the book, Tai notes that a huge problem many people have is the inability to be in touch with ourselves in the present. There's a concept called Tiếp Hình. The word Tiếp means to be in touch. These days, it's very hard to have a moment to ourselves. For me, I'm always busy with schoolwork, and when I have free time, I'm thinking about the extracurriculars that I should be doing. When's the last time you sat down and tried to understand the source of your emotions? The word Hình means present. He writes that we do not practice for the sake of the future, to be reborn in a paradise, but to be peace, to be compassion, to be joy right now. It's hard to be alive in the present, and it's so easy to stress about the future and fall into this trap of caring about nothing but school. I always tell myself I'm not going to be one of those people, but my actions would say otherwise. 2. What are some things we can do? He writes, the most precious practice in Buddhism is meditation, and it's important to practice meditation in a joyful mood. We have to smile a lot in order to be able to meditate. We use the bell to remind us this, and this is why the Buddha is always depicted smiling. He advises that even when we are upset, we have to realize that there is so much more inside each of us, and that we have to allow positive emotions to dominate us as well. There are 3 methods of meditation that he focuses on, all of which are much simpler than we think: breathing, walking, and sitting. The point of breathing is to help us find our true selves. It's more powerful than you think. Breathing in with your nose and out with your mouth is a method used for calming down your heart. Last year in my AP Lit class, many people chose to experiment with breathing as a way of helping with their anxiety, and many reported that it works. Walking meditation is about being present. When we take a walk, it's not about where we are going necessarily. We are simply enjoying the world around us and taking a break from our busy lives. The last one is sitting meditation. Sit and simply be. Why must we always take action immediately? If there are problems going on in our lives, we shouldn't act hastily and try to solve it right away. It's better to reflect on the situation instead of letting our emotions take over and lose ourselves. Cited suggests a room for breathing and meditation, and even 10 minutes a day is enough. These 3 methods were all described as forms of resistance against a culture that makes us lose ourselves. There are 14 mindfulness trainings, but here are 2 that I felt were the most important. The 7th mindfulness training is about being present. It's about practicing meditation so you can focus on what's happening right now instead of the future. Being present and finding your true self goes hand in hand. The 8th mindfulness training is about how to find peace with others. To summarize, it's about learning how to communicate respectfully and about avoiding judgment or speaking negativity into the world. When there is a conflict at the temple, the whole council gathers together, and the 2 monks will sit face to face, admitting their own faults and searching for a solution. They do so in a manner that is not about blaming, but rather understanding. Understanding and love go together. Common mistakes. There are a lot of mistakes we can make on our journey towards peace. He states that we must practice in a way that removes the barrier between practice and non-practice. After all, we don't just experience emotions during practice, we experience it all the time. We should do little things during our hectic lives to return to our true selves. When we meditate, we should allow the effects to stay with us for the entire day and not just the short period of practice. Remember that understanding is the source of love. In the book, Tai uses this example to apply to another person, but I also interpret it as something we can apply to ourselves. When a tree is dying, we don't blame it for not growing well. We ask ourselves, what does it need? And we figure out ways to get it. Don't blame others or yourself. Seek understanding. I started this project off feeling very cynical about being complete, believing that it was a harmful pursuit. But as time went by, my perception started to change. I was learning how to view completeness in a way that was healthy and important to my growth. I completely changed the way I thought in terms of how to get there. I no longer felt there was a checklist of goals I had accomplished in order to feel whole. It's something I can find in everyday life, and I feel so much more in touch with my culture and also myself. One of the responses said something that stuck with me. If I'm going to die anyways, I'd rather die in pursuit of these feelings because they're what makes us human. After all, what quality of life would we be living if we didn't aim to feel complete, regardless of whether or not it existed? After finishing this project, I start wearing my prayer beads again, as a reminder that every day can be a blessing, as long as we remember to be calm, present, and loving.